Unit 24, did you see the news this morning? Welcome to the PES News at 6 with Jacob Osborne and Joe Buller. Our top story tonight: 15 people have been arrested following a protest outside Downing Street that turned violent. With more information on this is our Home Affairs correspondent Joseph Buller.
15 people, one as young as 16 years old, have been arrested following protests outside Downing Street following the recent Tory re-election. A spokesman for the Metropolitan Police has stated 4 police officers and staff members were injured following 15 arrests. 14 people have been released on bail and 1 man still remains in police custody. The violence started when an anti-Oster Street protest began outside the Conservatives' headquarters. Graffiti was also found to have been sprayed by one of the protesters on the Women's War Memorial, which paid tribute to the women who died in World War II and to mark the 70th anniversary of VE Day. During clashes with police, one officer suffered from a dislocated shoulder and was being treated in hospital. No protesters were reported to be injured.
The images of these riots can have a profound effect on the way people view the public services. Many people from different backgrounds will have different views on the public services, especially based on their own experiences with the force. One of the questions we asked here was, how do the public perceive the way in which the police handle the protesters? To find out, we showed members of the general public some images of the protests and asked for their views. I'm here with Downing Street resident Theodore, and he's here to give us his views of the image here of the protests.
This image shows me that the police seem to be dealing with the situation well. I feel that they are giving a non-confrontational approach. You know, they've not got their batons out, they're not shouting, they're not being violent, they're relatively calm with the protesters. They're really shedding the police and the public services in a positive light.
How does this make you feel towards the public services?
This image makes me feel very proud, in fact. For once, the police, they're doing a good job. In other cases, you've seen the police being violent towards protesters in previous cases, but I think they're being respectful of the public and their rights here and their own rights. They're clearly trying to protect themselves from danger, but doing it without being violent themselves.
How much do the pictures impact the public services and the public's perception?
I feel that this particular image has quite a large impact on the police because it's showing them in a more positive light for once. Quite a lot of photos show the police in a bad way, showing them being violent. However, this one's showing them in quite a calm and controlled manner. It's actually making I feel it's making the public feel more reassured that the police are there to protect and not hurt people. I'm here with Corey, a protester, and his views on the police during this recent event.
Yeah, I believe in this image the police are looking a bit like cowards. They've certainly stepped quite a far back a bit from the actual protesters than since in the last image. Their batons are out, so they're looking quite forceful. They're also looking quite confrontational and intimidating towards the public with their batons out, and they're looking quite violent as well with their pointing at them as well. Also, you can see that some of them are shouting as well, so they're not trying to be calm and actually talk to the public. They're actually being threatening.
So, how does this image make you feel towards the public services?
With this image, I believe they aren't being engaging with the public. Some of them are wearing their helmets, so you can't see their faces. I believe they're trying to hide their identity so they can get away with police brutality. Their batons are out, so they're trying to look intimidating towards the public. As I said before, I still think that the police look quite cowardice in this photo. I also think that as soon as the police turned up, they actually caused the fighting to start and to break out. It did start off as a peaceful protest, but as soon as they appeared, the fighting actually began.
So, how much do you think this picture impacts the public services and the way that the public perceive them?
I believe this picture does have an impact. It shows how the police and the public still perceive the police in a negative light. Police presence always turns a peaceful event into violence, and they are always bound by their rules and regulations, so to see them retreating from a violent crowd is not out of the ordinary. It shows that the police, when they when they arrive at the scene of a protest, they can cause the trouble, but they can never keep it under control once it gets violent.
In conclusion, by having the police force portrayed in a positive light, they can concentrate on teaching and maintaining this form of policing to new and current officers to help preserve a healthy relationship between the public and the police. But by having a negative image as well, the police can see where they need to improve and can focus in on preventing issues like these from occurring in the future.
In other news,
all forms of media are independent. This means that they are free from censorship from the government. This means that media forms such as tabloids and newspapers are only subject to the censorship of their owners. This in turn means that the papers are free to publish what they want. Tabloids have a target market, and the stories they print will have an impact on the public's opinion of certain events or people. This would be because the media has the ability to give us potentially biased opinions on situations. This means that independent newspapers can put across personal opinions in a way that could help or hinder certain politicians or events. The newspaper could show something or someone negatively or positively based on their personal opinion. This would then impact its readers, as they will form an opinion from what they have been told, and they may not have been told everything.
An example of this would be Rupert Murdoch. Mr. Murdoch owns The Sun, The Times and The Sunday Times. On top of this, he also owns the broadcasting company Sky, which means he can cover all areas of media. In recent times, he has openly shown his support for David Cameron and the Conservatives. This means that during elections, his papers will have shown Cameron in a positive light and ensured that he was made to look good. This would be so that his readers would form a positive opinion of Cameron. This shows that Mr. Murdoch and his newspapers are independent, as he has chosen to use it to impact his target market in a way that helps someone. He has chosen to publicize someone in a positive way to help them in their success. This has an impact on the public, as it means that when it comes to forming an opinion on an event or person, they may be pushed in a certain direction because of what they have been told could just be the opinion of another person.
The idea of media independence means that things such as newspapers are independent from the government and are only subject to the censorship of their owners. The fact that the newspapers are independent has a great impact on the public and how they form their opinions. Two different people could read the same story from two different newspapers, but both come out with two completely different opinions on the situation. This is because each newspaper has told them may be biased on the subject. This means that the public are forming opinions based on the opinions of another because they have not been told all of the facts. This is because media is independent and free to give out their personal opinions and not all of the facts, therefore having a large impact on the public and their opinions.